Location 2, the finders, scale of consciousness. Hello, this is Chris speaking. Wake up with another video about consciousness, scales of consciousness, awakening and enlightenment. This time again about the book The Finders by Dr. Jeffrey Martin, the locations. Last time I talked about location 1, this time location 2. Location 2 is a more extreme form of location 1, but what's the difference? In location 1, you see that the story you have told yourself about yourself is just a narrative. It's the realization that there's no one home, it's just habits and memories. And the story you wove into them to make some kind of sense and individuality out of these scraps. So while in location 1, like a detective, you suddenly see that all this smoke is just that. There's no substance to it. In location 2, your narrative falls apart. Which also means less thoughts, less emotions, less attachments, less conditioning and conditioned responses, less trauma, but also less sociality. Even more than in location 1, this usually leads to a pulling back to a self-elected isolation. Becomes more and more difficult to play the game that most other people are playing and take things seriously, or to pretend to do so. Still, this is only just a more intense form of location 1. It's still not clear what's the difference here. The difference here is that things like time start to get funky, not really believable anymore, and especially the duality falls apart. There's a strong sense of not two, of that there's no difference between external and internal. And thus, the sense of agency disappears. Agency means that you are the agent of what you're doing. In location 2, the sense is very strong that you're not doing anything. There is no you. There's an experience of I-ness that is just happening, but it's not you who are doing it. It's happening and you can watch it, but it's part of a bigger plan, it's part of a bigger thing, and you're not the doer anymore. And that's okay with you. It's part of this feeling of harmony, of all is well, that you don't have to be the doer anymore. It's all about intuition now. All the rationality is not important anymore. Only intuition, only connection to the whole. In spiral dynamics terms, this is typical for turquoise, coral and teal. Or maybe plum. In Hawkins scale terms, it's usually 500 plus. Between 500 and 600. It's still not enlightenment, but compared to how it was before awakening, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a second level, a deeper level of awakening, and you have the feeling that there's no way back from there. That's it. Your ego is more or less gone and will never be in charge again. Often I have heard people say, that guy or that girl you knew, Jennifer or Jack or whatever you want to call them, will never come back. It's not me anymore, and you will never see him or her again. It's whatever that thing was, it's dissolved. So that was it about location 2. Location 3 and 4 will follow soon. Tell me in the comments below, what do you think, if this is a good tool to describe consciousness and so-called higher states of consciousness. This location 2 is very typical for Advaita, for non-duality teachers. Thank you for joining me on Patreon. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Hit the bell button, share the videos with your friends, and see you soon.